Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Welcome to episode number 5 of Shred Your Body. I'm your host, Jesse James Jemnick. I hope you're all having an amazing week. I hope everything is seriously going freaking awesome for you. So I'm trying something new tonight. If you haven't noticed, my it's really cold here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and my garage where I normally go live is just so freaking cold that I had to move inside tonight. I had to move inside. I couldn't do it. Like I didn't have the heater. I didn't want to put a big jacket on with a big hat. It was just kind of crazy. So as you jump in, do me a favor, drop in, let me know where it is you're coming in from. Say hello. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know some big wins that you've had so far. Whether you're doing a shred now, you just finished up a shred. I'm really excited about tonight because I'm going to share some tidbits with you that if you understand these, it can drastically change things for you. And remember, the whole point of the ER shred is not an 11-day protocol to just be done with an 11-day protocol. Down 10 pounds, yes. What's up, brother? What's up? The whole point of this is not just to follow 11 days. The whole point of this is for we want to teach you one the raw power of food. We need you to understand that. I talk about this over and over. If you don't have the aha moment, you're not going to change. Like I've tried this for years with people and you just don't, it doesn't sink in. Like unless you get slapped, it just doesn't sink in. So we need you to have the aha moment. We need to eliminate because we're putting chemicals in our body. And when you put a chemical in your body, the simple way for me to describe this to you is your body doesn't know what to do with that chemical. And over time, it gets sludgy, right? We've heard me talk about this before. It gets sludgy. And when the body gets sludgy, all of the intricate systems, the cells, the neurons, the nerves, all the little things that you don't think about because we just wake up and we're human, right? But all that stuff stops working. So we need the power of that elimination because we need to get the poison, basically. It's poison. Chemicals inside the body is poison. And sadly, a lot of our food today is poison. And we'll chat about that a little bit. And we need to allow the body to get back to baseline, get back to feeling like a human body, like get back to doing what it's supposed to do. Thanks, Shelly. Shelly says I'm hot. I love you. I'll always take that, Shelly. I'll always take that. So here's the thing: you need to get back to baseline, and if you don't get back to baseline, think about it. Like everything's got to start somewhere. Well, your health has to start at baseline, the regaining of your health, the making your health better. Every time you hit a new level, you can go better. Like I just did that with my shred. Like I'm super jacked up because I tweak things, I fine tune things, and I've noticed a couple key changes that are huge for me, right? Like a little less fogginess in the morning and a little bit more aha. So we need that power. Then we need the reset. We need the hormones to get there. We need you to feel the ketones, the fuel, the goodness. We need the autophagy to happen inside the body. And then we need the shred. We need the nutrition. We need the fuel for performance. That's what this is about. Remember, we're not doing this because society says blah, blah, blah. We're doing this because we want to feel amazing every single day. You hear me? We need to feel jacked up every single day. If you understand, let me know. I'm not watching Facebook right now. I'm kind of in between StreamYard and Facebook. So I think I got to go. If I go on to Facebook here, I might be able to see because some people that did not allow StreamYard. I can't see who you are when you comment, but we'll fix that. We'll fix that. Here we go. Boom. Now I can see the comments. Okay, so here we go. Bob Seavright, day 11, Chicago. Boom. So that's that, okay? So we need those aspects. We need the fuel. You're doing this because you want to feel jacked up. We need the shred aspect of it. And then we need this beautiful community. We need every single one of you. And before I get into tonight, again, as you hop in, drop in, say hi, let me know what's going on. Let me know big wins for this week. Let me know what's going on. Let me know what's going on. I want to cheers some herbal tea to you because celebrating your health is freaking amazing. Our health is our greatest wealth, and that's what it's about. It's going to be hard for me to sit in a chair. Like, I got too much energy to sit in a chair. Usually I'm like on my treadmill pacing. But anyways, here we go. What are we covering tonight? Insulin, the most powerful hormone inside the body. We're going to keep it basic. Don't worry. I want you to let this information sink in. We're not going to get super crazy. We're going to give you just enough so you understand the power, because when you have the power and you take that knowledge and you execute that knowledge, now you are in control, right? You can't just have the power and not be able to execute it. That's what happens. That's what makes this a little bit different, right? So we want to execute that power, and we want to teach you about that. Then I want to share with you how I play with food and how I hopefully what my vision is for you, or my vision is for people to learn from the ER shred, like Sean and I talk about. This is lifestyle. This is a big deal. This isn't, again, 11 days, bing, bang, boom, you're done, you're out. Like, this is community. This is about getting better and better. This is about uplifting other people. This is about helping other people. This is about you coming from a place of here to here. And when you get to the top, you reach back down and you pull people up with you. Why? Because everybody deserves to feel jacked up. Can I feel you on that one? Like, everybody deserves to feel jacked up. And I feel like that's my mission. That's my calling, to help people feel awesome. Because when I had my aha moment and realized how powerful food was, like, I just want to feel awesome every day. I want to on a spur, on a whim, just be able to go hike a mountain. It's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling. It's a gift, right? And it's something that we deserve. It's something that we should have. And we just need to take a little bit better care of ourselves. So let's get into this, right? At baseline, feel great. Been following since mid-October, but I'm scared to add in foods. Hang tight, Nancy. I got you. I hope I can help you with that, okay? Because it's a mental process. So let's get into this first. What is insulin, okay? I put down a few notes, so if you see me looking, I wanted to make sure I brought the basics to you. That's the simple basics. I tend to kind of get a little bit crazy. I geek out on this stuff. I was just reading this amazing study today about carnivores and our insulin sensitivity and how it used to be so much stronger and how it created more powerful human beings. And ever since the evolution of carbohydrates, how they came in, I want to cross-reference that, and then I'll share that info with you guys too. But insulin is essential for life. Insulin is a hormone that regulates so many metabolic processes inside of our very extreme, very detailed body, and it provides energy to our cells. So that's what insulin's job is. Insulin provides energy. If you understand insulin, it's super important to your overall health. So it's really important to understand how insulin works inside the body, because it controls so much inside the body that if you have regulation over it, you can imagine the benefits that it's going to do. So you got to think of insulin as like a key. I always referred to it to clients. I'm like, think of it as like a bouncer to a really high-end club, okay? If you're not on the list, you don't get into the club. That's insulin's job. Insulin, if you can imagine a cell, it's a circle, and then off of the cell, you have insulin on the outside, okay? And then there's what's called an insulin receptor that goes inside the cell. And that receptor, the insulin, is supposed to, the receptor allows the insulin to get inside the cell. That's what provides the cell energy. Now, when we think of energy, the first thing that might come to your mind is jacked up, fired up, full of energy. Wow. No, energy is the functioning of the human body. Your cells need energy to function. Each cell has a job. Each thing inside the body has a job. It needs quality fuel. Fuel is energy. Energy is fuel. It's the same thing. You understand? So the choices you're choosing to make, what is the nutrition density of that, right? So that's insulin's job. It makes sure that it unlocks the cell and it lets the glucose in, so that way your the glucose in from your blood, so your cell can make the energy. That's essentially what it is. So what the hell is insulin? Like, where does insulin come from? Great question. I'm glad you asked. There's a little behind your stomach. is your pancreas, and your pancreas's job is to make insulin. So your pancreas understands, like, if insulin's job is to allow energy into the cell, when you consume foods or your body needs energy because of whatever it is that you're doing, that's when do you understand, that's when it turns on. So it's just important to understand it's that switch, right? So it's tucked away, and it's regulated based on blood sugar levels. So when you eat food, your body's job is to release insulin because that energy, right, it wants to pull the energy. Now, in a healthy individual, insulin is a really, really tightly regulated system inside the body. And it flows like clockwork. Like, you don't really need to think about it, right? Sometimes it's like where my body's at right now. To give you an example, if I eat a high glycemic food, my pancreas would realize that it would release the insulin, but my body is insulin sensitive, meaning I can control, like it knows what to do with the insulin because I haven't lost that control. And we'll get into that in a second so you understand what the difference is and why it's so important. But hopefully you're starting to understand. If you're understanding, let me know. I love all these things. Down second ER shred, feel awesome. Day 10, down another 9 pounds, charging into 2021. Like, come on. You just don't get it. But this is part of the reason why. You're actually controlling your insulin, where before you had so much blood sugar running around just rampant because your body couldn't do anything with it. You became not sensitive to insulin, and your body actually wouldn't allow it in. You've damaged those cells. So, the key is, it's what happens is, if you damage the body and you're unhealthy and maybe you're overweight and you're, eating processed garbage and you're always eating high sugar foods, and, what happens is that lock and key system might not work the way that it's supposed to work. And then that sugar builds up inside the blood. And this can cause all sorts of health issues, like literally all high blood pressure, heart disease, different types of cancer. I mean, you name it. Like, literally, it can just wreak havoc, right? And so you got to think about it. Like I told you, insulin's job is the key, and it basically it just it allows the cells in the muscles, in the fat, in the liver to absorb this glucose. Remember, when I speak of glucose, it's energy that is in your blood, and then the glucose serves the energy to the cells, or it can be converted to fat when needed, right? That's how the human body works. You follow me? So it's we want to keep it really, really simple, but I need you to understand the concept of this because it's really, really important. So insulin also affects all sorts of other metabolic processes inside the body, such as like breakdown of fats and protein. So that's all because of insulin, right? And what happens over time is, we've all heard of what's the problems of too much insulin overload. What's the problem if your body can't produce it? What's the problem if we get more blood, more all this sugar, all this glucose that can't be used, all of this stuff. And primarily, where does glucose come from? Glucose is sugar, basically, right? Carbohydrates, sugar, things that sugar is added to. That's basically energy, carbohydrates. And if you look at what's happened and you kind of look at where we are today, we live in a world where we have an abundant supply of carbohydrates, and they're not quality carbohydrates. And we'll get into that when I tell you about how I balance food, but they're not quality carbohydrates. They're chemically made, scientifically made, sugar-filled crap. Like, literally crap. There's zero nutrition whatsoever. All the minerals added, the vitamins are fortified. They're just not good, right? They're chemicals. Like, how do you expect your body to process that? So when you put that stuff in, and your body's job is to recognize, hey, there's food, and your insulin's judging based on blood sugar, you got to realize that certain food that you would always eat, when you ate a white piece of bread, or you ate crackers, or you ate a donut, or you ate fried foods, or you ate whatever, these things break down inside the body and raise the blood sugar level. And typically, when that happens, insulin's job is to help balance that out, store the energy where it needs to be stored. It says, you go here, you go here. Remember, that's its job, right? It's telling things where to go. And all of a sudden, it's not working anymore. That starts to build up, and you can see where that happened. This is where, what's the downsides? Well, diabetes, right? We've all heard of that. And there's two different types of diabetes. There's type 1 diabetes and there's type 2 diabetes. 90 to 95% of the diabetes today is type 2. And type 2 is you gave it to yourself. Like, it's basically like your body, if your pancreas is just constantly spewing out insulin and it's overworked, eventually those cells are going to die. And that's where pre-diabetes comes in, and type 2 diabetes, where your body's no longer insulin sensitive. So now you can see you've gotten, now mind you, this takes time, right? And a lot of you have been years where you've gotten to this point now, and we're reversing that because of the choices, not because of one particular product, not because of whatever. It's a combination of everything that I explained to you about the shred. There's a reason your body's re-regulating this, because you're actually feeding it good food. You're not feeding it stuff that's spiking your blood sugar. You're not feeding it stuff that it doesn't know how to identify with it. You're not feeding it foreign material. You're feeding it quality nutrition, nutrients, vitamins, minerals. Understand? Your body knows what to do with that, which is why it starts to thrive, which is why you start to come alive. It's really, really simple if you think of it that way. So, you got to look at type 2 diabetes and realize that it is 100% reversible. And the goal is you want to catch it quick. Now, here's the scary part. There are so many people walking around with type 2 diabetes because it doesn't really show that many side effects. It comes on little by little, little by little. Maybe there's a dark spot on the skin, maybe it's a this, and all of a sudden it doesn't really present itself until it gets so severe that you now can no longer regulate insulin. And you might have to take insulin. You might have to give yourself insulin shots because your body needs to know what to do with that stuff in the blood, and it needs to know where to put it. So you have to almost force the insulin versus naturally allowing it to happen. So does that make sense? Anne says she's losing me. Anyways, here's the recap. The reason it's so important to eat quality food is your body, the hormones inside your body, especially insulin, controls almost everything. Its job is, it acts like a key. Its job is to take stuff from the blood and feed it into the cells to allow you to have energy. And over time of you eating processed foods and nasty stuff, you've lost you've lost the sensitivity to insulin, meaning your body won't allow it to do its job. The key is broke. Make sense? So we need to get that back the other way, because you can't just keep having sugar stored in the blood, which then leads to so many other problems. So I'm going to leave the insulin at that, because I really don't want to get so crazy into all the stuff, and I want to keep it basic, but I wanted to bring it to your attention because you're doing this in the ER shred, and I want you to understand the reason why you're starting to feel good. That's really my main point here, okay? So the reason you're starting to feel good is because you've eliminated those processed carbohydrates. You've pulled that junk out of your body. You're adding in, carbohydrates through shakes and such. If you're doing a strict shred, or if you've started to add other foods, you're adding those back in now. But the difference with those particular carbohydrates that you're now choosing, they're no longer spiking your blood sugar. They got fiber to offset that. So your body's just not, again, always under attack, always not working, everything's not functioning, it's not sludged up anymore. And the power of the elimination aspect of taking all that stuff out, you can see just how much of an impact and how much it actually does play a role in the entire body, because you're no longer feeling like crap. You're sleeping. You got energy. Your skin's coming back to life. Your body's starting to flow. So I hope that makes sense. I didn't lose everybody. It gets really complicated, and I really try to make sure that we keep it simple because I want this. It's not what this is about. Like you're gonna just follow the system. But for those of you that want to know, that's why I wanted to do this one, right? The whole purpose of these calls is to interview amazing people, continue to provide you value and knowledge. If some of it works for you, great. If some of it doesn't work for you, great. Some of these things we're going to do science, and that might be your jam. Great. It might not be your jam. Great. This is a community of all sorts of people, right? That's what it is, so that's what you get. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about foods. Why do you guys get really scared about this? Um, one of the biggest things that I need people to understand is that food is your friend. And the faster that you can come to the realization that food is your friend, the faster you're going to continue to have aha moments. And the problem is that for so long you've been told certain things. You've been told what to eat. You've been told what not to eat. You've been told this is good for you. That's not good for you. You should do it this way. Nope, you should do it that way. No. Whoa. Whoa, right? Listen to me. One of the most magical things of the ER shred, and the reason nothing will ever change, is because you instantly recognize how powerful food is. And you get to now understand. Now, I believe in you. I so believe in you. I believe in people. And I believe that everybody understands what to eat. Should I really tell you that down the road, incorporating, some vegetables that fit with your body is probably a smart thing to do? Do we need to be reminded? Like, we already know that some veggies are good. We know that some carbs are good. We know that water is good. We know that quality proteins are good. And we've heard this over and over and over again. But if we just told you everything, you wouldn't have the realization. You would keep going back to the same thing. Like, you are at the ER shred for a reason, whatever that reason may be. You're here because of a reason. So when you start to look at food and you start to realize, like, I need you to understand that. How can I realize, Jesse, food is my friend? Well, look at how you're feeling right now. Look at how you're feeling right now. Look at the fat melting off. Look at the energy coming back. Look at the mental clarity. Look at the change in personality. Look at how you don't get angry so easily. Look at how hair, skin, nails. I mean, all the things that we've heard, the testimonials, the people, the hundreds of people. Look at all of that, right? And that's food at its best. That's the easiest way I can share it with you. That's what food is supposed to do for your body. It's supposed to jack you up. If you have questions, by the way, as you jump in, feel free to jot them, put them in the comments, and I'll do my best to go back for sure. But that's what food's supposed to do. When you eat food, it's supposed to make you feel alive. It's supposed to give you a rush of energy. You're fueling the cell. You're fueling the beast. You're fueling the high-tech piece of machinery that you are. You understand? So when you start to introduce foods back in, a lot of it's got to be common sense, and then some of it's trial and error. And you have to come to the realization that the main reason that I won't sign up a health coaching client unless it's a 6-month commitment is because I already understand that it takes time. I can't just give you a list and give you 20 things to do. Can you imagine that? If you just got, oh, do these 20 things and there you go. That's what doctors do. It doesn't work. Like it takes time. You got to have patience. And I'm going to remind some of you again that you've been on this path for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years plus. And you got to remember that while the ER shred 11 days will have some effect, some it will be more, some it will be less, some will experience this, some bodies will heal faster than others. It just depends on where you're at. So when you're looking to reintroduce foods and you're at that point where you're comfortable to do that, you want to start to look for foods that are anti-inflammatory foods. You know, again, I've said from day one, we don't demonize vegetables. We don't demonize quality carbohydrates and using them responsibly. You see, that's the difference. Is we've gotten to a point where we abuse foods. We abuse sugar. We abuse flour. We abuse everything. Just think about it. You go out to the restaurant and you order a dinner and you really have a portion size for at least two, sometimes three. So we've gotten ourselves to this point, right? And now we've made ourselves so scared because we're in this place with our health that we've mentally screwed ourselves. So in order for you to understand and not be scared, you just got to look at it as a fun experiment. And a lot of you are going to have to do some deep diving, and that's not what this group is. Some of you might need to go and hire, you know, somebody, I don't know, like a Susan, right? Or a health coach or a Nicole or something like that, because they've been through, you know, how different. Most people are health coaches, and because they've been through shit and they figured it out, and they feel so good that they just want to help as many other people as possible. I mean, that was like my aha moment, right? And I just think everybody should feel jacked up. So foods are that. Now, what kind of foods, Jesse? Great question. I would start with simple things. I would start with things like squash. I would start with things like olives. I would start with things like green beans. I would start with things like a little bit of sweet potato. I would start with things like you can introduce, you know, whole grains. Okay. Do you know the difference between a whole grain and wheat in a grocery store? Okay. A whole grain is actually like three different parts. And when you eat it, the body, the enzymes in the body, starting with your saliva, actually, your body has to work hard to break that down and extract the nutrition. So therefore, it's a very slow digestion process. Quinoa for certain people. Again, I'm giving you suggestions. These are not, don't go just shove these in your body. The way to introduce foods is one at a time, but I want to give you a span of some things, okay? Um, you know, avocados, back to whole grains, but you want that. Now, wheat bread, for instance, you know, these packages that say daily, what, you know, whatever. You got to learn to read the ingredient label, not the front of the package. If you read the front of the package, you're destroyed. They lie. They can legally lie, and that's another lie. But that they can legally lie. You got to learn to read the ingredients. Okay, so if you see whole wheat flour, they have pulverized that whole wheat grain into a flour, and your enzymes don't have to actually do much, which then it spikes your blood sugar just like any other processed carbohydrate. I know this is where it gets confusing. What? What? How could they do that to me? It's bullshit. Drives me nuts. Anyways, thanks, Natasha. Man, I love you guys. I'm so glad you guys are here. So glad. So glad everybody's here. This is awesome. Okay, are you following me? I hope I'm making sense. Um, so that's foods, okay? So what other foods can we do? You can start with maybe some walnuts. You can start with some hemp hearts. You can, you know, I love to add some things into my morning shake. Remember, my goals, my body, This is what I do, okay? So I've done this for a long time. I've played with foods for over 15 years to see which foods fuel me the best for me, for my athletic goals, for the frame that I want to keep, for me. Understand? You got to do you and find you. And we can guide you, we can help you. But you got to experiment and play around and see. You'll know. You'll know when you reintroduce a food. So you reintroduce foods one at a time, one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. Give it a couple days. If it doesn't mess with your stomach, it doesn't cause that indigestion, it doesn't, pay attention. One of the things I need you to do is you need to, what do you mean by balancing foods, Christine? One of the things you need to do is pay attention to how your body feels and the signs. If you feel a little groggy one day, you might have ate something. And if you're not tracking, it's not, I can't show you, gosh, I've been tracking on MyFitnessPal. I'll post it in the group to show you my breakdowns and my numbers and, how I base my day and how it goes from like massive amounts to lower amounts and how my protein starts to increase based through the day for recovery into bed. And like, this is what I mean. You start to figure these things out. Okay. So balancing foods, 7 years. Yes, Natasha, it takes time. People got to relax. I see, oh, my body, I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Well, what have you done to yourself? What have you done to yourself? What have you done to yourself over the years? And what is the healing process? Everybody forgets there's a healing process. What damage you've done must be undone. And in that undone process, it might not feel so good. And some of your bodies are going to go, and some of your bodies are going to stagger, and some of your bodies are going to play games. This is why, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody would be healthy. We wouldn't have obesity problems. We wouldn't have all these major crises. You understand? These health crises. Like, it wouldn't happen if people just understood. Like, we just got out of control. So this is giving us that power. This is letting us do that. Does that make sense with foods? So I don't view foods as, I just can't teach people demon foods. I believe that depending upon your goals. Now, again, I'm giving you scenarios. If you have big goals and you're still diving, losing weight, like, you need to keep going. You need to keep going until you're at a point where you feel like you're in total control, that you can do something. Like, whatever. I can, for instance, if I wanted to eat ice cream, I can literally control the amount, like the serving size. Sometimes I want more, sometimes I want less. I can eat a couple crackers and know that it's going to spike my sugar and give me that feeling of addiction, but then be like, nah, I'm not stupid. Like, I can control that because I know it goes away within 2 minutes, and then boom, I'm back to normal. Do you understand? Like, that's the point that I want you to get, where it's so powerful for you that you're in that kind of control of food. That's ultimately, if you keep this mission of health where it continues to go. Christine, I didn't see, quantities. Here's the thing, friend. You just need to know, portion control. So many people, you'll see when I show you my list of foods that I track, I eat a lot of food, but I do it in portions. You know what I mean? Like, I'll have like 2 hard-boiled eggs, and then like an hour later I'll like eat again, or an hour and a half later I'll eat again. And again, that works for me because my body's just, I want it to constantly be burning fat and building muscle. Like, I work way too hard for what I want to do. But quantities are, when it comes to lean proteins and stuff, I like to focus on making sure you get your numbers, if that's what you mean, of proteins to fats. Because if you have enough protein to fat, the chances of you overindulging on carbohydrates are going to be really, really slim to none, because you just feel so full. You feel so satiated. Like, there's a difference between being fed on a cellular level and being fed to be fed, like just gorged out. You know what I mean? When you eat a bunch of like French fries, for instance, you're full, but you're like, brah. Like, you're not really actually nutritionally full, right? So quantities are, again, use your best judgment. Do you know what I mean? Like, the deer that come and visit my backyard daily, the multiple families, I don't tell them how many carrots to eat that I throw out for them. They just eat until they're full. They use their judgment. They eat grass until they're satisfied. And I know that's not a direct answer, but I want you to understand why can animals do this, and yet we as mammals, the most brilliant ones, you know what I mean? I hope that helps. I hope that lets you go, I got it. Ah, I got it. Cool. Okay. Intuitive eating. Yes. 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 Intuitive eating. Now, you can use tracking to help guide you. Guys, I got 4 minutes left. I got one more exercise, and then I'm gonna cut this because I want to make sure we keep this in the thing. So yes, intuitive eating, and you can use tracking to get you in the habit. Like I love to go back every now and then because I'm like, oh crap, I was way off of my protein count. I'm gonna slide this in and slide this in, and now I just like after I've done it for a few days again, I'm like boom, boom, boom. My lunch bags are packed. My I don't have to like know the quantities anymore because I got it because I created that visual. And that's why I go back every quarter or so or every few weeks, and I want to understand where I'm at. So I know I'm always kind of looking where I'm at. Sometimes I fall off. Like this shred was great for me because I slipped a little bit. Like I started eating too many things I shouldn't have been eating. I got a little bit lazy, right? And my little pouch, like I know that seems whatever, but my little pouch, I can feel it, and it's great. It's gone. So you start to just understand. You start to just you do feel it because you get to feel when you're full. You get to understand that feeling that your belly sends and your signals, and you get to that point. So, anyways, okay. Last thing that I want to share with you. One of the places that I learned nutrition was a beautiful school called the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and it really piqued my interest because it was about health coaching. It's about talking about things like this. Like in a typical health coaching session, I don't just say, "Hey, Christine, I want you to go eat A, B, C, and D. This is breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and this is how we're going to do it." No, actually, food in health coaching land is what's called secondary food. The food that's on your plate is your secondary food. And what we focus on first is primary food. And I'm going to explain to you a real quick reason why. And there's more deep dives we can do with this. But the interview that I did with Nicole, if you didn't catch that, by the way, go back and get that. It was like, I think it was episode 1 or 2. I think it was actually episode 1. And which we're only on 5 right now. But if you go to the ER Shred YouTube page, you can catch that. If you search my name in this group, you can catch that. But she talked about the mindset and the addiction process, and that's a big part of it. And also, too, there's something that they taught us that stuck with me, and I love it, and I've used it with so many of people, and it's called literally the circle of life. So I don't know if you can see that right there, but that's called the circle of life. Okay. And this is my circle of life, and I'm going to go through and share it with you because I did the exercise and I could easily post this link for you guys to do. And what I love about this is in IIN, they talked about primary foods and the primary foods of life. And if your primary foods of life aren't on point, your secondary food is not going to be on point either. So think about it like this. If you are, for instance, unhappy in a relationship and your relationships are way down, your chances of overeating and using food as comfort are higher than somebody else's who has a life that has fulfillment in the relationship category. Does that make sense? So you might be thinking, oh my God, I'm doing everything wrong with food. And yes, you might be making the wrong choices. But what if we switch something else in life and got that straight too at the same time and created that balance? Would that then impact the decision making process of the foods that we're choosing because we feel more fulfilled inside already? Does that make sense? So I want to read through the categories with you. And again, I can post this for you guys. It's a great thing for you to have a visual. And what this circle indicates is you put a dot on the outside of the circle, on the outside of the circle, if you feel like super confident, like that's a 10 out of 10. And you put a dot towards the center of the circle if that's something that you don't feel confident with, and you can obviously adjust it in between. So the different things are, I'll read through and tell you where mine are, okay, is creativity. Now I have mine, closer to the top, but not all the way there because I sometimes lack, like I feel like I lack creativity. I feel like I need to work in that department. I need to do a lot more mind work and self-belief work. Believe like that's the things that I work on because we all are, everybody thinks that everybody has it easy because they have one thing mastered. Like for whatever reason, people think that because, I'm in shape, for instance, that I have all of life figured out. I'm a hot fucking mess. I'm such a hot mess. Like, you understand, right? So these types of things are great to help you because it's like, shit, I need to work on that. Finances. I feel confident. Like I do, I'm very blessed. I do really well with my wallpaper business with my dad. And my side hustle does really well. It feeds me, right? If I want to do so much more. So of course I'm not up at the top, like, but I'm like, and I don't sit in my comfort because I always want more. I always want more. But I left room for myself is my point, right? My career. I love helping people. I love being able to work for myself. I love being able to tell myself what to do. I love working with my dad and cracking jokes all day. I love what I do, right? I love health coaching. I love, networking. I love all of that. Okay. So I'm pretty happy there. Education, I left room because I don't think you can ever stop learning. Okay. Health, I feel like my health is pretty on point. It's way up there. Physical activity, check. I got that under control. Home cooking, I love to chef it up. Home environment, we're happy. Yeah, Crystal and I fight. Yeah, she gets pissed off with me. We're both A alpha type personalities. Like sometimes it gets a little feisty up in here. Let me be honest with you. But overall, we're happy. We're healthy. Like we talk about future. We have goals. We're on roads going to the same thing, right? So that's pretty good. Relationships. I feel like there's always room to improve on that. So I left that down. Like I'm okay. I want more relationships. I want to open up with a relationship with myself. I want to be more vulnerable. Like I I want to learn how to cry. Like I haven't cried in a long time. Like actually I cried the other night thinking about my daughter, but I haven't cried in a long time. Like I trauma that I'm working on from my childhood and some different things that I've dealt with and self-belief and growing up being made fun of all the time. Like, dude, it's a bitch. It's a bitch to work on that stuff and do it. Social life. Well, it's low. There's no social life right now. I don't know who has a good social life right now. Thanks, disease. Joy. I'm genuinely joyful person. I'm happy. I'm super happy, right? Yeah, I'm sad sometimes. I'm aggravated sometimes. I'm just like you. I'm just like you. I'm just like you. I'm literally just like you. Again, where you might thrive, I'm a hot mess. This is the beauty of community is we're here for each other. You see why networking is so great too? Like where you're not good, somebody else is, and you come together and join forces as one to create better good. Hello. Spirituality, I struggle with this. Like I'm up and down. I growing up, I've never. I don't know. I'm mixed. I'm lost. Like I'm lost. I'm lost in that department. I feel really lost in that department. So, anyways, there's my circle, right? I have dips. I have things. I can look at this and say, okay, like I can do some work. And when I do that work, I'm filling a void. I'm filling voids inside my body. And as human beings, we want to feel full. We want to feel connected, right? We want to feel connected. We want to feel part of something. Instantly, social life and joy and happiness can come from just being. This is why I'm so involved in this group. Why I love this group. Why you I can't stop thinking about this because it's so much bigger than just you or me. It's so many lives being. It's energy going into the world. It brings me joy to make other people happy. It always has. It's like it's gotten me in trouble and it's done really good things for me. It's like I always said to myself that it's it's a weakness in a way that I get taken advantage of, but it's a strength because I can love someone. I can give chances. I needed chances. Like I'm at that place. Anyways, if you want that, I can post that. I'm happy to post that in the comments, and we can get that out to you guys. It's free, FREE, integratednutrition.com. I believe that's where it's at, but I can send you the direct link because that way you don't have to go through them trying to pitch you going to school and all that kind of good stuff. But anyways, That's what I got for you tonight. I hope that brings value to you. I hope that understands. I'm sorry if I confused you at the beginning with insulin. I know sometimes science talks, get crazy and we just want to keep it basic, but I need you to understand that it's super, super powerful. And the reason you want to not add shitty processed sugar and carbohydrates back in, besides very, very, very little, just to get a taste and enjoy and create some balance, okay, is because it just wreaks havoc on you and you need the control of your insulin. Balanced foods. Don't worry about the quantities. I promise you'll figure it out. Stop being scared of food. Do some journaling. Do some deep diving. Talk to somebody if you have to talk to somebody. Reach out to somebody if you have to reach out to somebody, because health is our greatest wealth and you deserve that. And then finally, the circle of life, the balance, the primary foods of life. If you balance those, how much better can everything else be? How much better can everything else be? Natasha, we're all perfectly imperfect and better together. Yes. Yes, my friend. And yes, Tammy, I will definitely send it to you. So, friends, I hope you have an amazing night. Every Tuesday, we do these calls. I'm hoping to have a great interview for you next week. If you have any topics that you want me to cover on these are nutrition talks, these are interviews, these are uplifting stories, these are just value that we want to keep pouring into this community. Definitely shoot me a message, send me an email, Jesse, Jesse, at musclesandmiles.com, all spelled out, musclesandmiles.com. You can find it on my Facebook page. Send me an email. Let me know topics you want to discuss. If I don't know them, I'll find the professionals to bring to you. We want to continue to do this forever and ever and ever. So every Monday we have our business ones. Every Tuesday we have Shred Your Body. And tomorrow we have our weekly Shred Come Alive call where we open the floor to you. We want to hear your testimonials. We want to celebrate you. Please do not be scared. This is a safe community. This is a community for everybody. Like, you need to celebrate. I don't care if you lost 5 pounds, 2 pounds, 4 pounds, 50 pounds, 30 pounds, 10. I don't care. I want you to celebrate. I want you to celebrate the non-scale victories. I want you to talk about it. I want to be able to clap for you. That's what this is for. Invite your people. If you have anybody you know can benefit from the Shred, invite them to this call. We'll do 30 minutes of testimonial. I'll do a quick little 15-minute. I got it down. 15-minute breakdown of the Shred, the aspects, the components of it, if you have new people on, and then we'll close out the call. Bing, bang, boom, done. But get your people on the call. You get on the call. Let people know about the call, because it's the community aspect. It's what we love. We need to celebrate each other. We need to celebrate each other. It's so important, especially right now, especially when we're all locked in our homes, especially when we don't have a social life. Like, use this as that means to crush 2020, finish it up strong, get into 2021 with momentum. And you do that through excitement, through feeling part of a team. Like, everybody wants to feel that. Don't you want to feel that? Everybody wants to feel that. I just hope everybody wants to feel that. Anyways, friends, have a kick-ass week. I'll see you tomorrow night in the call. Thanks for your time. Thanks for jumping on. And I will see you next week with another Shred Your Body call. Take care.